For the 12th consecutive season, the Washington Capitals have reached the Stanley Cup playoffs. Despite realignment, two old rivals will meet again in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinal playoffs. Tonight, the Capitals and the Penguins begin their quest for Lord Stanley's Cup. Stay tuned with us here on Paramount 20 Sports. Stanley Cup playoff action on Paramount 20.
The following is a live and exclusive presentation of Paramount 20 Sports. Paramount 20 proudly presents Stanley Cup playoff hockey with the Washington Capitals. This Capitals playoff game is sponsored in part by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Giant Food. Quality, value, and service. That's Giant, your place to save. Your National Capital Area Jeep and Eagle dealers, where you can expect the best. And by Southwest Airlines, now offering service from BWI to Chicago and Cleveland.
This is the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, home of the Penguins, who won the Stanley Cup in back-to-back years after an early exit from the playoffs last spring. Tonight, the Penguins play host to the Washington Capitals, a team that has won 3 in a row and a team that's a decided underdog as the series begins. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Rimmer, your play-by-play voice here on Paramount 20, joined by Sean Simpson, and I think that's a positive for the Capitals, Sean. The fact that the Penguins are expected to win this series, maybe less pressure on the Capitals than previous years, and I think the Capitals are ready for an upset.
Well, you'd hope so, and I'm sure Jim Schoenfeld, in talking to the team, is using that as a positive. Coming in, they have nothing to lose. Go out there and continue to play hard. And as you said, the season ended on a strong note, and again, he's trying to channel that, talk to the people, keep them positive, keep them upbeat, and come in here to Pittsburgh and say maybe a couple of wins.
Well, the big talk here in Pittsburgh is that Mario Lemieux is healthy. Played only 22 games in regular season play, but is expected to play throughout the playoffs right now. And that means Mike Ridley's got to come up big on the defensive side.
Well, without a doubt, it's going to be a big key for Ridley. And one of the great things about Ridley, he has played very well in the past here in Pittsburgh, Jeff, and even better, at even strength, Lemieux's line is weak. And that's where I think the Capitals can really take advantage. If not only Ridley can hold them off of the score sheet, but get some offense of his own.
Capitals certainly have some strong leadership on the back line. Kevin Hatcher, who has stepped up his play of late, in particular since the trading deadline, also will have his hands full with Mario Lemieux.
Well, you know Hatcher's going to log a lot of ice time, and you look at still the Capitals' defense, along with Johansson and Cote. Not only are they going to be expected to play the defense, but at the same time try to chip in, time it perfectly when they're jumping into the play. Transition game is the key. Make sure they're not jumping in at the wrong times and getting the Penguins, catching them on the odd man rushes.
We mentioned big number 66. As I said, played only 22 games in the regular season. Coach Eddie Johnson, who took back the coaching reins this season, said he's never looked better than he does right now.
Well, and obviously that's scary for anybody involved. The fact that not only this hockey club is coming together down the latter part of the season, but the fact that Lemieux is in the lineup, there are no question marks as far as we know. He's ready to go.
Of course, the Penguins are not a one-dimensional team. They've got outstanding talent up front. And they've also got a former Capital in the back line, Larry Murphy, that comes up big.
Well, Larry Murphy is the key to their defense. He's their top guy, I think, not only defensively, but offensively. And that's as much a key not only for Pittsburgh, but even for the Capitals. How much pressure they can put on Murphy, how much they can put his face into the glass, and how physical they can play against their 4 top defensemen.
So it's the Capitals and the Penguins to begin this National Hockey League Conference playoff series here in Pittsburgh. Maybe a blessing for Washington to start away from the U.S. Air Arena. They had a winning record, and we'll be back with the opening face-off here on Paramount 20.
It's electrifying. Things got to walk. Battle stations are energizing. Pulsing. Exhilarating. experience you've ever had. Let's do it. Get the Star Trek Next Generation buzz. 5 nights a week at 7 and 10 on Paramount 20.
All across the country, excitement is growing for one of the biggest automotive events of the year, the National Eagle Sale at your Jeep and Eagle dealer, where you can lease or buy the award-winning Eagle Vision. Get cashback savings when you lease or buy sporty Eagle Talent. And find great values on Eagle Summits. From L.A. to New York, it's the most exciting automotive event of the year. But you better hurry in, because a sale this exciting won't last long. See your National Capital Area Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Want all the excitement of racing without actually going to the track? You could try Winner's Circle. With 6 chances to win, it could make a winner out of, well, almost anyone.
A startling proposal heads for New Orleans. A hard-fought contract is Chicago-bound. The 3 sets of contact lenses are expected in Tampa by tomorrow morning. Express mail from the Postal Service will get them there. Overnight, guaranteed, from just $9.95. Every day, overnight, we deliver for you.
I just can't climb into a suit and tie.
Meet Kevin. He didn't get his business philosophy from an MBA program.
I think it's really about not the profit margins I'm trying to make, but about staying connected with my customers.
How else does Kevin connect with his customers? The AT&T Business Advantage. His own 800 number. Now you can keep up with your customers for only $6 a month.
Hey, AT&T works for me.
Let AT&T work for you.
Jeff Rimmer, Sean Simpson rejoining you here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. The start of the Stanley Cup playoffs between these two teams. The Capitals coming off a tremendous high, having won their 3 previous games leading up to the start of the Stanley Cup Series, including a big win you saw on Paramount 20 on Thursday night over the Buffalo Sabres, a team that wanted to move up in the standings. But the Caps held on behind Byron Dafoe for a 1-goal victory, 3-2. That, says Jim Schoenfeld, who I caught up with earlier, was a big boost to begin this playoff series.
Well, I think the Buffalo win was a big win for a couple of reasons. The game meant an awful lot to the Sabres, and they're a team like the Penguins. They have some great individual players like McGillney, Howard Chuck, Donald Audette. So you have Lemieux, Yager, Stevens. So for us, it was kind of like a dress rehearsal for this game. We responded well. Our goaltending was great, and we had a solid, strong game from every player. They knew they had to finish their checks. They did. We capitalized on our scoring chances. It's a game much like the game we're going to have to play here tonight in Pittsburgh.
Jim Schoenfeld, and we might mention that the Penguins have not played since Monday night. Their last game was Monday night, so they are well rested and have an opportunity certainly to rest the likes of a Mario Lemieux, a Rick Tocchet, and others that have been banged up. Tonight, though, they're ready. Here's the anthem.
Ramparts we watched were so gay.
Kevin Glavin with tonight's national anthem. Jeff Rimmer, John Simpson rejoining you here, and it's Don Beaupre in the nets tonight.
Well, you say it in every playoff, Jeff. Goaltending always a key. Donnie Beaupre has had good success here in Pittsburgh. His team has been playing well in front of him. All they're asking is Donnie Beaupre make the routine saves and sometimes make the big one. At the other end, we have Tommy Barrasso, and hey, this guy's a veteran of the National Hockey League playoffs, but I think the key for the Capitals here, Jeff, getting pressure in front of Barrasso, getting involved, getting in his face. Sometimes gets a little irritable, try to throw him off his game.
Idea is to certainly throw Barrasso off his game early, Sean. You're absolutely right. If you can get to Barrasso early, and you can make the analogy between the starting goaltender tonight, Barrasso, and a starting pitcher. Get to the pitcher early, get him off his game. Barrasso tends to get stronger as games continue.
And it's always such a mystery how teams are going to come out in a playoff. You mentioned Pittsburgh being off since Monday. Hey, they come out and play early in the hockey game, and they'll say, hey, it was great, we had the rest all week. If they come out and they look a little rusty, then, hey, it's exactly what they'll say. It's from the layoff. So be interested to see how the crowd plays in favor to the Penguins and how they react in the first 5 minutes.
Eddie Johnson behind the Pittsburgh bench. Jim Schoenfeld, his opposite number behind the Capitals bench. We are set for the face-off. Our referee for this evening's game, Dan Marowelli, Ron Asseltine, and Ray Scampanello, the linesman. Hunter and Francis set for the face-off, and Stanley Cup action here on Paramount 20 is underway. Caps win the draw. Hatcher steps up to center. Rolls it in. He and Johansson paired on the back line. It is Hunter out there with, and we've got a quick line change with Jones and Ridley coming over after Hunter won the opening faceoff. Caps aggressive in the offensive zone. Quick shot deflected wide of the net. Johansson in off the point. Throws it behind the net. Hatcher fires from a sharp angle. That one blocked. Rebound following through. There's a backhand shot. Comes to Rick Tocchet on the right wing. The outlet pass for Francis. Picked off by Randy Burridge, who backhands it back in the Pittsburgh zone. Mike Ridley, left wing. Throws it behind the net. This is Kevin Stevens reunited with Lemieux and Tocchet. Already we've had both teams jockeying at their benches. Mike Ridley, right wing, at center, rolls it wide of the net. Back to play, Larry Murphy. The Penguins backliner bangs it on the boards. Played by Poulin, fired wide, low on the glove side. The Caps, the aggressors here in the early moments of the hockey game. Washington winning the season series 2 games to 1. One game ended up at a tie, and the last game here between the two clubs, March the 15th. Washington won in overtime. Randy Burridge with a hat trick, including the winner inside the first minute of the extra session, and that's something that Jim Schoenfeld hammered home to the players. The Capitals were able to beat Pittsburgh in the regular season series. Slaney backhands it out of the zone, sends it in deep. Hustling back for it, Shel Samuelson will touch up, and it's an icing call against Washington.
Simple play along the boards on that last rush. First of all, Capitals look very sharp so far in the hockey game, but as Yager was hauled down by Riki right there, as in any series, like goaltending, the officiating is going to play a big key in this series, Jeff. How closely the officials call the clutching and grabbing. Of course, the slower the pace of the game is, the better it'll be for the Capitals. So we'll wait and see how things go. A good sign, though, as Riki hauled down Yager in the neutral zone.
Jim Schoenfeld behind the Washington bench. Schoenfeld coaching the team through the final 37 games, 19 wins, 12 losses, and 6 ties. Talks in terms of team unity. Says the Capitals can play better as a unit than the Penguins, who certainly have individual stars much greater than Washington. Hatcher deals it on the right wing. This is Kristen out there with Pavanka and Juneau. Juneau can't get a stick on it. Played by Francis. Circles behind Barrasso. Here come the Penguins to center. Francis deals it on the left wing for Mullen. Mullen held off by Juneau. Good defensive play, but it may be a penalty that's called against Washington after Mullen was dumped. I think Juneau will get the gate.
Well, right there, like the Capitals want to have Ridley against the Lemieux line. The Penguins with the last change will try to have Francis out there against the Capitals' top offensive line. Juneau along with Pavanka and Dmitry Kristich.
2 for tripping. The call against the Capitals. We'll step aside, and we've got a power play when we return.
telescoping steering wheel and 8-way adjustable driver's seat of the new Acura Legend will return precisely to the position you last left them with the touch of a button. After all, everyone likes to be remembered. The Acura Legend. Some things are worth the price.
It started with an idea that has now won the prestigious Thomas Edison Patent Award, which annually recognizes major innovations in technology. The award was won by Exxon for a gasoline additive that removes deposits for a cleaner engine, reduces emissions for cleaner air, and improves performance. Next time you fill up, rely on the award-winning gasolines from Exxon.
Jeff Rimmer, Sean Simpson rejoining you here, and it's Juneau 2 for tripping at 2:09. Washington on the power play. Washington penalty killing. 18th best, killing off 70 of 386, 18.1%. Now the Penguins on the power play. 13th best, 76 power play goals, 18.8% proficiency. They got the big guys out there now. Stevens, Murphy. Murphy, right point. Throws it cross ice. Francis deals to Lemieux. This was Lemieux's first game against the Capitals this season. Yager in front to Stevens, and Beaupre will cover up. Stevens and Hatcher right there. And it's interesting to point out that in the 4 previous games, as I mentioned, Lemieux did not play, as we got a look at Kevin Hatcher. But the power play without Lemieux for the Penguins, 7 for 21, 33.3%.
Well, without a doubt, that's going to be the key, I think, to this whole series. Whether or not the Capitals can kill off the power play of the Penguins. Key to it, Roddy Francis takes the draws in the offensive zone right here, Ron, or Jeff. He'll then move back to the left point. Lemieux will move up to the center ice position.
Lemieux sends it on. The pad save. Rebound off the post and off the glove of Beaupre. Yager throws it cross ice. Murphy off the point. And it's left in front of Don Beaupre, who may have got a piece of that one to deny Larry Murphy. The Penguins all over Washington here in the early moments of this power play. 1:14 left with the extra man. Lemieux, Yager, camped in the slot. Here's Yager off the post once more. Again, the pad save by Don Beaupre. All right, 2 big saves by the Caps netminder there.
I'll tell you, the penalty killing, standing around, not aggressive. Penguins moving that puck in a number of good chances, and Beaupre's looked sharp so far.
16:40 remaining. Scoreless first period. 46 seconds in the Juneau penalty for tripping.
Tell you, when you're a man short against the skill of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the penalty killers have to be a little more aggressive than that, Jeff.
Ricky and Cote are paired on the back line. Francis, Stevens, Lemieux, picked off by Mike Ridley and then backhanded the rest of the way.
The thing you want to do against the Penguins, pressure them in the neutral zone, stop them before they can ever set up, and use that skill in the offensive zone and get those great chances.
Lemieux across the line. Drops the pass there. Hoggood looking for Tocchet. Couldn't get the puck. And now Greg Brown on the back line with 9 seconds remaining, and this will be a victory of sorts for the Capitals, who certainly saw Don Beaupre come up big early.
Well, there'll be a victory in the fact that they kill off the penalty. On the other hand, the Penguins with 3 good scoring chances. I'd say 2 of them. One was a lucky save by Beaupre. The other 2, one on Murphy, then a tip by Stevens in the slot area, were great saves. Really his first saves of the hockey game. Gets him back into it. Here's the way by Murphy. Going to the backhand. Beaupre down and out, but a good second effort, getting the blocker arm on that puck. And here's the tip by Stevens right from the slot. That's one of the great strengths of this power play. Feeding that slot area. Tocchet, Stevens, Yager do such a good job of getting open and getting those good chances.
Best save by Beaupre may have been the one that we didn't see in tight. Right up against the net. Yager tried to come in short side, and Beaupre got a piece of that one.
Well, you have to be good and you have to be lucky, Jeff. And on that penalty kill, Capitals got both.
Samuelson. Final seconds ticking off in the Juneau penalty. He's on his feet and out of the box. Caps have killed it off. Comes to Beaupre once more, and he shuts the door. Don Beaupre, who Coach Jim Schoenfeld said, with the research the Caps did before the playoff series, seems to play better, Sean, with some rest prior to going in the goal.
Oh, without a doubt. The stretches the regular season when Schoenfeld took over with Tabarachi and Beaupre both healthy. They were playing very well. Once Tabarachi went down, Beaupre had to take over the workload. Seemed at times to fatigue, and let's face it, when you have some close losses, mentally you get tired, physically you get worn down. So the last week or so has had plenty of time off, and with games every 2 days, should be ready to go every night.
Samuelson right on, gets by Beaupre, but he alertly looks behind him and covers up on the puck.
Again, right there, good second effort by Beaupre coming out. Jim Schoenfeld looking calm as ever. Shots on goal so far, although the Capitals put on some early pressure, do not have a shot to show for it. Penguins out shooting them 6-0, 4:15 into the hockey game.
Pamanka and Martin Straka to the right of Don Beaupre for this draw. Straka wins it. Alt Samuelson backhands, cutting it off as Johansson clears the zone with a pass to Junot. Junot out there with Konowalchuk and Pamanka. Junot darts down the right side, and play's been whistled down.
Called on the offside. On the right side, Konowalchuk moving in. Junot makes a quick move, tries to straddle that blue line. Unable to. Playing the right side is already Jim Schoenfeld mixing the lines up a little bit. Konowalchuk playing with Pavanka and Junot as we look at the Pittsburgh bench. Assistant coach Brian Trottier,
who is almost 100%, has not played here down the stretch for the Penguins, but says he's feeling a lot better with those back problems now than he has for quite some time. Eddie Johnson now standing up at the Pittsburgh bench, and Eddie Johnson, of course, in his first year since returning to the hockey club after both being general manager and coach for a time, before moving on to the Hartford Whalers, now back in Pittsburgh. Penguins, certainly the team favored, and with the expectations maybe not as high, I think the Capitals can certainly pull an upset. But they've got to play well and get the goaltending that you spoke of earlier, Shot. Hunter deals it in front. Kristich scores on the backhand. The Capitals lead 1-0 on their first official shot at the Pittsburgh net.
Well, a great play right there, and the Capitals, they get the good goaltending at one end and head to the other end. And Dmitry Kristich, 2 goals in his last game of the regular season against Buffalo, and he picks off right where he left off. Look at the pass by Hunter. Kristich with the quick move will go to the backhand. Just slide it along the ice past Tommy Barrasso, and I'll tell you, that's a great victory for the Capitals. Look at the joy of Bondra, Kristich, and Cote. Caps lead 1-0. Here's another look at it. Peter Bondra, his first shift of the hockey game. There's a pass. Kristich does a nice job of fielding it with his skate, knocking it up to the stick, and then making the quick move on Barrasso. You look at that stick, Jeff, the Sherwood stick that Kristich is using, has had good luck with, has gone to a different pattern recently. Pat Peake's pattern. Had 2 goals with the stick in Buffalo. Here he is getting the first playoff goal.
Washington's leading goal scorer during regular season play, Dmitry Kristich, pulls the trigger to get the Caps on the board, and this their first postseason game. Hunter and Bondra draw the assists, and Washington leads 1-0, and it's swept into the zone by Slaney. Penguins out of the zone. Yager held up at the line, and it's called on the offside.
Their Capitals standing up at the blue line, forcing the Penguins offside. Jaromir Jagr doing a good job as usual, carrying that puck through the neutral zone.
.37 remaining, first period. We'll be back.
You can't use a mobile phone to say,
Okay, we're ready to sign a contract.
you can't use a mobile phone to whisper.
Daddy misses you too, sweetheart.
A mobile phone will not let you send,
Here comes the fax.
and it will not let you hear
The meeting's been changed.
unless
Hello?
the call goes through. A mobile phone is only as good as the system it's on. Choose Bell Atlantic Mobile.
Introducing the new 1995 Lexus Coupe. After all, you only go around once.
Jeff Rimmer, Sean Simpson rejoining you here for playoff hockey on Paramount 20, Game 1 of this series. And the Washington Capitals out to a 1-0 lead on the goal by Dmitry Kristich from Hunter and Bondra. 4:49 into this first period. Washington's first shot at the net. They've been outshot, but not on the scoreboard, leading 1-0. The Caps again winning the regular season series, 2 wins and a tie in the 4 games. This is the first time Washington has played against Lemieux. In this 93-94 campaign, Hunter deals it in front for Konowalchuk. The glove saved by Barrasso. No further play.
Dale Hunter on the first goal with a centering pass to Dmitry Kristich, and from a similar area, just off of that right side, trying to center it to Steve Konowalchuk. Barrasso grabs it out of midair. Playoff tickets are available now for Thursday and Saturday night's games against the Penguins. So come out and root the Capitals to victory. For playoff tickets, call the Capitals office now at 301-386-7080. That's games A and B, Thursday, April 21st and Saturday, April 23rd. Start time is 7:30. Be there. Look at that last play. And there's the centering pass by Dale Hunter. There's Tom Barrasso scooping it up with the catch glove.
John had mentioned earlier, if you get to Barrasso early, you can certainly get him off his game.
Without a doubt, and the best way to do it is crowd that net area, and that's what the Caps have done.
Neutral ice play now. Lemieux trying to keep it away from Jones. Shovels it back to the back line. Ramsey for Brown. Jones all over Lemieux. And the crowd starting to get a little rambunctious here, feeling Lemieux is getting tested unfairly. Hatcher off the boards, clears the zone. Jones steps into his man. Randy Burridge and Ridley. 2-on-1. Burridge with a shot. That's blocked by Brown. Played by Tocchet with a left wing pass for Stevens. He sends it cross ice. Here come the Penguins across the line. Ramsey, the veteran defender, sends it on Beaupre, and play's been called.
We're getting another penalty coming up, and again, it's going to be against the Capitals. Keith Jones, another tripping penalty. Joey Juneau called earlier in the period on a transition. Right here, Jones hauling down, I believe, Mary Lemieux in front of Donnie Beaupre.
6:41, the time of the Jones penalty. Penguins with their second power play.
Jones doing a good job on the shift to sticking with Lemieux right there, putting the stick. Maybe a little dive by number 66. Maruelli gives him the call. You wonder how that will work for the Capitals, Jeff. Checking Mary Lemieux, always such a key. And your first shift out there, you're Keith Jones. You try to put the stick on him, and you're called for a penalty. How do you approach it the next time? Are you more cautious, or do you go right back after him?
You think the crowd, and I think that's what Coach Schoenfeld now is saying, that the crowd might have called the penalty, because remember the first rush up ice, Maruelli didn't call a penalty. And then again the second time with that maybe bit of a dive from Lemieux, the penalty is called. And that's what Schoenfeld had the pre-series meeting with the supervisor of this series, Pavlich. He felt that there would be some discussion with regards to how they treated Mario Lemieux. And indeed a penalty's called there.
Caps don't want to let the Penguins set up here on the power play, Jeff. Keep trying to keep them in the neutral zone, keep them a little bit off balance.
Dave Poulin finds an opening and sends it the length of the ice. Barrasso, he likes to play the puck. Leaves it behind the net. Larry Murphy will come back. 1:31 remaining in the Jones penalty. Penguins all over Beaupre in the Washington net the first time they had the man advantage, but could not score, with Beaupre coming up with a couple, at least 2 key saves from close in. This is Francis, paired on the back line with Larry Murphy. Across the line, this is Yager to the net, leaves it there for Lemieux, saved by Don Beaupre, and the rebound sent sailing wide. Francis with a shot that's deflected. Lemieux tied to redirect. Dave Poulin finds an opening, and it's back down to the Pittsburgh end. 56 seconds remaining in the penalty to Keith Jones. Here come the Penguins once more. Off ice. Kelly Miller backhand. Barrasso sets it up. Excellent penalty killing here by the Capitals. Kevin Stevens in full flight. A burst of speed. He crosses the line. Deals it on the wing for Hoggood. Stick save. Rebound. Fanning on his shot from the point. There was Mullen. Traffic in front. We've got an injured Penguin. And that's Greg Hoggood, who after the shot went sailing into the boards, and he's in a heap of trouble.
Hoggood coming off of that left wing, picking up the puck. A quick shot on Beaupre. either lost his balance or was knocked by a Capital, but he looks to be in considerable pain. His left leg looks to be favoring. Hogwood in the lineup really just as a power play specialist, not on their number one unit. Francis and Murphy will start off. Hogwood comes on. He's one of their 7 defensemen dressed. The Penguins dressing 11 forward, 7 defensemen for tonight's game.
A look at Joe Mullen. And there's Ed Johnson. But the point we want to make here about Mullen, Sean, is he scored just 6 goals during the Penguins' final 31 regular season games. But he scored a big goal against the Oilers in a 5-3 loss back in March. The goal, how about this one? It guaranteed Mullen a contract for next year. Mullen, if he had scored 70 goals over the last 2 seasons, was automatically guaranteed his contract renewal for next year. And that's something that doesn't necessarily happen. And it's not the norm for sure, but Mullen with the 70 goals over the last 2 seasons, now guaranteed to come back with Pittsburgh next year.
And I'll tell you, he has slowed down in this second half, but has always played well against the Capitals. And let's face it, probably one of the great goal scorers in National Hockey League history, Joey Mullen.
There's Hoggood. Mullen, by the way, 9 game-winning goals for the Penguins this season. No one has more for Pittsburgh. And Mullen had a great series against Washington in the 4 games, 3 goals and 3 helpers. Here, Beaupre will cover up with Lemieux camped right there on the edge of the crease. 11:40 left to go first period, 21 seconds remaining in the Jones penalty. Don Beaupre been very sharp here early.
No, he's looked outstanding, especially on the penalty kill. And that last play right there, Jeff, a simple one, puck coming into Beaupre. I think a smart play. Again, the Capitals, whenever they can slow down the hockey game, Beaupre will take that puck, hold on to it, rather than playing it, taking the chance that Lemieux might take it off as someone continue things. Slow down the pace as much as possible. Don't let this Penguin team get into their flow offensively.
Taps a man short for the next 18 seconds. Murphy tried to save at the line, unable to do so. Poulin chasing the Penguin rear guard. Lemieux backhands it into the zone. Here's Hatcher. Chased by Tocchet. Tocchet tries to turn it over, but Johansson gets it, and he banks one off the boards, and this will effectively kill off the remaining seconds. Out of the box comes Jones, hit by Tocchet immediately, but the Caps have killed off their second penalty in the hockey game. Hatcher with some help now from Jones, who clears the zone. Greg Brown, Samuelson, left wing pass, centered for Tocchet, knocked off his stick by Hunter. Straka has it, held off by Povanka, and Hunter moves to center. Greg Brown throws it right back in. Beaupre leads for Ricky. Rolled around on the right wing for Hunter, gets out of the zone. Flipped back in by Pittsburgh, and this one ends up behind the Washington net. Hatcher, right wing Bondra, centering pass for Junot, got caught up in his skates. Here come the Penguins again. Thomas Sandstrom, unable to hang on to that puck. Capitals control in their own zone. Shot from the point, sails wide of the net. Far side, played by Hatcher out of the zone, off a Penguin stick. Greg Brown, chased by Povanka. Junot can't get his stick on it, comes to Cote at the point. Cote's shot stick to side, Barrasso. Povanka tried to throw it in front, denied by Taglianetti. Caps keep it in. Cote. Junot approaching the midway point of the period. Bondra on the left wing. Barrasso got a stick, flipped behind him, and it sailed wide of the open corner. Junot, Povanka, Bondra in front. Here come the Penguins. 9:50 left to go. Washington leading 1-0. Samuelson shot, score. Oh, hit the goal post. The crowd thought it was in. It may have hit the inside of the post and never crossed the red line. And Maruelli certainly had the view, and an excellent view, and perfect position. The Caps hang on to the lead. An icing call against Washington. We'll step aside. The Penguins are asking for a replay. And we'll be back with the...
Amtrak meets you more than halfway with the extension of our fantastic 55% off fares. Purchase your tickets by April 29th. Good for travel now through June 16th. Call your travel agent or 1-800-USA-RAIL.
Formula Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. In it,
test. It protected an engine for 200,000 miles. The result? Vital engine parts that looked as young as the day they were born. There was virtually no engine wear. If you're looking for the fountain of youth, you'll find it in a container of motor oil. Mobil One Synthetic. It keeps your engine running like new.
Jeff Rimmer, John Simpson rejoining you here on Paramount 20.
Now look at that last scoring chance. Samuelson off of the bench, Jeff, gets some speed through the neutral zone, takes a pass. Here's the shot. Beaupre just getting a piece of it. You see it bounce? There it is, no doubt about it, right off of the post. Nothing Cote could do right here. Didn't have the speed to come over and guard Samuelson. Beaupre way out where he wants to be. There you see it. Just a little piece of it with that catch glove stops it from going into that left corner.
Well, the Penguins have hit some posts here tonight. And as you said very early in this hockey game, you've got to be good, but you've got to be lucky. And Beaupre's been both in the first period. Hunter heels for Kyle Walchuk. Backhand shot. Barrasso the save. Saved in by Cote at the point. Christich kicks it to the corner. Dale Hunter picks it up. Tries to throw it to the point. Swept to the wall. And shot by Ricci. Gloved on the fly by Barrasso. And there'll be no further play. 9:03 remaining. Washington 1. The Penguins no score.
Well, Jim Schoenfeld accomplishing what he wanted to do early, get a goal on Tom Barrasso. Now, I'm sure he has the Penguin goaltender thinking about things. Donnie Barrasso, or I should say Donnie Beaupre at one end playing so well, making a number of key saves. On the other hand, Caps with probably just 3 or 4 quality chances. One of them they get a goal as we look at Dale Hunter out there with Christich and Jones on that last line, put on some good pressure.
Dale Hunter drawing an assist. Seems to be favoring his elbow there. That point for Dale Hunter is 52nd in postseason play, and at least for the Washington Capitals, and he's now 1 behind Scott Stevens on the all-time Capitals point-scoring list. Sylvain Cote's shot, knocked down, played by McKenzie. Number 33, the former Hartford Whaler and Dallas Star, out to perhaps change the tempo of the hockey game. Number 33 for Pittsburgh. And he's playing with Francis and Yager. Slaney, right wing pass for Randy Burritt. On the turnover, Francis finds Yager, held off by Cote. Yager goes right back after it on the left wing boards, turned around by the Capitals defenseman, and Slaney moves it on the left wing boards for Jones. Saved at the line, off a stick and right into the glove of Don Beaupre. No further play with the Capitals looking at a couple of the Penguins right there in the slot.
Well, a big key right there. Keith Jones works hard along the boards, but on that last play, Jeff, puck comes around to him at the left wing. Should have had it on his stick. Instead, it hops over, goes right to Larry Murphy. Not a great shot, but still a shot on goal on a puck that you got to make sure you get out of the zone. And I'm sure Keith Elaine over to talk to John Slaney. He's going to play a big key in this series, how much they can use Slaney. We've seen Nelson in 1 shift. That was a 3rd shift for Slaney playing with Cote. But if he can log 10 or 15 minutes of hockey game, that'll take some of the play off of the top 4 guys.
We should mention Capitals not in uniform here on this 2-on-1 break. We'll tell you that in a moment. Poulin with Pavaka. The save made at the back line by Larry Murphy. And then Murphy, still with the presence of mind, makes the clearing pass to center. Johansson, though, on the turnover, finds Dave Poulin. The drop pass for Kelly Miller. Miller's shot is blocked. Miller had a 6-game point-scoring streak snapped in the Caps win at Buffalo on Thursday. Still, 3 goals in his last 3 games and 4 in the last 5 of regular season play. The pass for Lemieux, steps in across the line. Beaupre the save, rebound, Tocchet sails it wide, rebound, and off Lemieux, and off the Capital, and behind Don Beaupre. It's all tied up. Lemieux will get the goal as it went in off the Capital, and we're all tied 1-1.
Well, tough break for the Capitals. Transition hockey again. That's where the Penguins get their goals. Lemieux with the initial shot has presence of mind to circle behind the net. He'll bank this off of, I believe, Kevin Hatcher. Watch, he just tries to center it. There it is, right off of the right knee of Kevin Hatcher and between the legs of Donnie Beaupre. Tough bounce for the Capitals. Beaupre recovering, goes back to the post. And Lemieux, I'll tell you, whether or not he's looking for the pass, I'm sure he's just trying to center that puck, either looking for a bounce or looking for an opening, and he got the lucky bounce.
Just 22 games during the regular season for number 66. And in 11 playoff games against Washington coming in to tonight's contest. 9 goals, 17 assists for 26 points. Again, in just 11 games in postseason play against Washington. Tonight, goal number 10 against the Capitals. And for playoff numbers, Lemieux, amazing. 53 playoff goals in 61 playoff games, 116 playoff points.
And you look at Lemieux, the experience that he brings into the game, only 61 playoff games played. The leader on the Penguins roster and the assistant coach on the bench beside Eddie Johnson is Brian Trottier, 219 games. Look over to the Capitals side, and they have Dale Hunter and Dave Poulin, the only two over 100 games. 126 for Hunter and 116 for Dave Poulin.
Well, a fluke goal has tied up the hockey game. Mario Lemieux, who's told us today that his back now better than it's been at any point this season. And he plans on playing every playoff game. There was certainly some concern as to whether or not he would be able to play back-to-back games. But Lemieux says he's ready and hasn't felt any better than he does right now in this particular National Hockey League season.
Jim Schoenfeld again switching things up. Joey Juneau out there has, this time, Steve Konowalchuk on the left side. Peter Bondra on the right. Previous to that, had Pavanka out there. So Jim just trying to switch things around as much as possible. Try to get Juneau going. Try to get the offense going.
We were going to tell you the Capital scratchers tonight. Not Gress, Jim Johnson, who's made a remarkable recovery from a torn ligament in his knee. He's back skating, still a ways away from returning, though. Also not playing, Todd Krieger out with an ankle injury. Sean Anderson, an ankle injury, as that one sails over top of the net. Not Gress. Coach's decision. Berglund, Pete, and Jason Allison, along with Rick Tabaracci, will back up tonight. Byron Defoe, winning goalie in Buffalo, the 3-2 win, and he had a big night in the victory over the Sabres. Starting down the right wing, this is McEachran. Pulls up, right circle, looking for Doug Brown. Capitals, it's their turn. Juneau overskates the puck. Konowalchuk now deals to Bondra. Bondra's shot denied by Sandstrom. Rolls into the corner. Konowalchuk held up by Ulf Samuelsson. Konowalchuk, who has certainly played outstanding hockey for Schoenfeld down the stretch. Bondra right wing. Throws to the corner. Konowalchuk. Juneau. Konowalchuk from a sharp angle. His shot stopped by Samuelsson. Played behind the boards by Bondra. Bondra now tried to throw it in front. Cote gloves it ahead. And it's on the turnover played by Pittsburgh, so no whistle. Sylvain Cote, as both teams change on the fly, tried to deal ahead to Berube with his first shift. Number 27 out there with Hunter and Kristich. It's an icing call against the Capitals. The faceoff back in the Washington zone. 16-18 remaining in the first period. Tied 1-1 here on Paramount 20. Craig Ramsey, the former Buffalo Sabre, and I shouldn't say Craig Ramsey, but Mike Ramsey. And he is a former teammate of Jim Schoenfeld.
Does not get a lot of ice time, particularly at even strength. Will play alongside Larry Murphy, killing penalties. But much like the Capitals, the Penguins go with four defensemen. Tagley and Eddie along with Murphy. The two Samuelsson. Ramsey will play in once in a while, along with Brown and Hoggood. Caps on the other side. Four have moved Slaney in and out. And we've seen Todd Nelson on a couple of times. He was on for the Capitals' first goal, and on that last shift, looked pretty good, holding up Sandstrom at the Caps blue line.
Dale Hunter wins the draw. Played by Pavanka. Shovels the backhand to Johansson. Caps come out of their own zone. Kristich couldn't get a stick on it. Played by Jágr. Chased by Hunter. Hunter finishes his check on the Pittsburgh forward. Pavanka now tries to deal it. This is Rieke off a stick. Mullen and Rieke get tied up. Play continues. Jaromir Jágr with a burst of speed out of the zone. Jágr left wing and across the line. Looks for Brown. It's tipped off his stick. Played by Mullen. Jágr out of the corner. Fires it on. Rebound. Scores. Ramsey. And it's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Well, right there again off of the transition was a 3-on-2 for the Penguins. Michael Pavanka did a great job of getting back, picking up Mullen. It was Mullen who took the pass from Jágr. No scoring chance. And then Jágr circling out of the right corner with the shot. Donnie Beaupre seemed to lose this as it caught him up high. Bounces down to his right. And there's Mullen skating past Joe Rieke and knocking it past Donnie Beaupre, and the Penguins lead for the first time in the hockey game. There's that rush, and there's Pavanka hustling back, took out Brown, no scoring chance, and there's Mullen now going to work the give and go. The shot by Jágr, Mullen out of the corner. Not much Donnie Beaupre could do right there. Had no idea where that puck was after Jágr shot it.
Well, talked about Joe Mullen earlier. The fact that he was able to score 3 goals and an equal number of helpers in the 4 previous games during the regular season and pulling the trigger for his first playoff goal, and Pittsburgh with the lead.
Now you expect with Mullen this time of year to step his game up. Had a stretch where he was not playing well. But come the end of the regular season, that almost is a blessing in disguise for players that are in slumps. It gives you the opportunity to have a real fresh start. And Mullen's made the most of it.
Hatcher, wrist shot. Barrasso the save, and it on the rebound, hopped over the stick of Ridley, who was camped on the doorstep, awaiting that rebound. Slaney leading the Capitals up ice. Slaney pulls it wide of the net. Off on the far side, Taglianetti. Oh, there's a hard hit there on Ridley. Centering pass for Jones. On the turnover, comes right back to the Capitals, Keith Jones. Jones to Burridge. Burridge in tight. Oh, and Barrasso able to get a piece of that one. Randy Burridge, a hat trick last time these teams played here in Pittsburgh in a Washington overtime win. 2-1. The Penguins lead, and they head up ice once more. Larry Murphy across the line, and it's called on the offside. 4:50 left to go, first period here in Pittsburgh. Lemieux and the Penguins by 1.
They didn't win the lottery. They didn't inherit $1 million. John and Regina Fitzsimmons just went shopping at Safeway. With their Safeway Savings Club card in hand, last year they saved $990. No kidding, $990. So now they're spending a lot more on their family and a lot less on groceries. The Safeway Savings Club. If you could use the savings, use your card.
Want to get the best fare to Cleveland? Then you got to be a smart flyer. Now here's Southwest Airlines unrestricted fare. And here's another airline's. Uncanny resemblance, but let's look closer. Not only are Southwest fares available on every seat, every flight, every day, but Southwest has the highest rated on-time performance and customer satisfaction of all major airlines. How do they get all that at such a small fare? And the other guys? Fall flat. Southwest Airlines at BWI. Just plain smart.
Jeff Rimmer, Sean Simpson rejoining you here on Paramount 20 from Pittsburgh.
Look at Todd Nelson, recently called up from the Portland Pirates of the American Hockey League, former farmhand of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and although he did not spend much time with the Penguins, only 1 game, being drafted by a club and getting the opportunity to come back and play against them in the playoffs means an awful lot to him.
Little extra incentive, I would think,
Sean?
Without
a doubt, and I'm sure 2 weeks ago it's something he did not expect.
Samuelson sweeps it away from Junot. Here comes Pittsburgh once more. Sandstrom. On the turnover, Bondra darts down the right wing and across the line. Leaves for Junot. Junot right circle. Bondra deflects it. Barrasso there to make the save, and here comes Pittsburgh again. McEachran circles at center. McEachran flips it high in the air, looks right wing, and it's called on the offside. Also knocked down by Straka with a high stick, but the faceoff will come back out of the Pittsburgh side of center. 4:10 remaining, 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Tommy Barrasso with a good save off of that last rush. Good work by Joey Juneau, doing what he does best, getting the puck to people in high-scoring areas. And I thought Peter Bondra did a good job, too, putting it to Juneau, driving to the net. Juneau put it right on his stick. He tipped it. Tommy Barrasso makes the right pad save, but chalk it up as a good scoring chance for the two.
Penguins coach Eddie Johnson reuniting the top 2 lines. Of course, the Lemieux line with Tocchet and Stevens, and we've got the Francis line with Yager and Mullen. Their third line not much worse off than the top 2 as far as offensive production. And McEachran is part of that line, and play called here. And we'll have a penalty. Hooking the call, as this will be the first penalty against Pittsburgh, giving the Capitals their first power play opportunity of the evening.
Always important to cash in on those power play opportunities, but even better for the Capitals. Ronnie Francis really the top penalty killer for the Penguins. Here's the hook on Dmitry Kristich. It looked like Kristich lost his balance on his own. Either way, it is a penalty, and the Penguins lose their top penalty killer, so that's good for the Capitals' power play.
Washington's power play finished 18th best in the league. They scored 2 power play goals against Buffalo Thursday to finish up with 70 in 386 opportunities, 18.1% proficiency. On the power play, the Capitals just 3 goals in 22 chances against Pittsburgh in the 4 regular season games. And it is Hunter, Pavanka, Junot up front. Hatcher, Johansson paired on the point. Penguins win the draw. And it's Doug Brown to the line, but not out. Samuelson holds off Pavanka. Hunter has it for Washington. 3:40 left to go, first period. Here's Johansson dealing for Hatcher. Hatcher now rolls it into the zone. Unable to trap it was Barrasso. Left wing boards. Hunter can't control. Samuelson. Shot by Doug Brown. Saved at the line by Hatcher with some help from Pavanka. And play whistle down. Brown all over top of that one. And we'll have a face-off inside the Pittsburgh zone. 3:19 remaining first period. 1:25 in the Francis penalty. Caps first on the board with a goal from Dmitry Kristich. At 4:49, the Penguins scored twice in a little over 2 minutes. Lemieux first and Mullins first, and it's 2-1.
Playoff tickets are available now for Thursday and Saturday night's game against the Penguins. So come out and root the Capitals on to victory. For playoff tickets, call the Capitals office now at 301-386-7080. That's games A and B. Thursday, April 21st, and Saturday, April 23rd. Start time 7:30 for both of those contests.
Joey Junot from the draw. Lays it along the board. Out of the zone, Hatcher. Johansson sends it back in. Barrasso plays all the way down the ice, and the Capitals will have to come back and regroup in their own zone. 1:08 left in the power play.
Another thing you have to work against with the Penguins, dumping the puck in, keep it away from the goaltender.
Kristich drops it to Hatcher. Kristich in the corner. Comes to Junot at the point. Hatcher on the half board, pitching in. Traffic in front of Barrasso. Kristich and Hatcher playing catch. Junot between the circles. Sandstrom breaks it up. Jones towards the net, sails wide, picked up by Kristich, hit by Taglianetti. Joey Junot tried to send to the point. Penguins break it up. Here's Sandstrom at center. Sandstrom rolls it in the rest of the way. 27 seconds left in the Washington power play. The crowd showing their pleasure here with the Penguins' effort in this penalty-killing situation. Barrasso on the Bondra shot will hold on.
Well, Barrasso recovering well. Capitals scoring on their first shot on goal. Peter Bondra again with a shot on goal. Feed from Joey Junot comes off to the left side. Barrasso getting into position. Sees that all the way.
It's a one-goal hockey game. 2:10 remaining in the first. 16 seconds left in the Francis penalty. Tom Barrasso certainly had other things on his mind than hockey in the last week or two. It's been disclosed here in the Pittsburgh papers in recent days that his daughter, Ashley, 6-year-old daughter who had a form of leukemia and went into remission, has had a kidney problem here of late, and who could blame Barrasso for thinking of everything but hockey, and had a couple of games last week when he was less than sharp-shot. Cote at the point. The shot is blocked and the zone is clear.
Mentioning that about Barrasso, and I guess it depends on how the athlete looks at it. On one hand, it takes your mind off of hockey. You might play better, or the game might go down the tubes. If I'm Tommy Barrasso, I bet it'll make him play better.
Well, it certainly didn't last week, and your point's well taken. But Barrasso very concerned about Ashley's health, and they've got some good news in recent days, and you're right, that will certainly settle him down and get his mind back on these playoffs for Pittsburgh. Bondra, right wing. Jágr picks it up. Penguins back at full strength. Jágr now. First across the line. Jágr, top of the circle, deals to Francis, poked off his stick. Saved at the line by Murphy. Right wing, Mullen. Mullen towards the net, knocked down by Cote, and it's fired up into the crowd. The face-off in the Washington zone with 1:10 remaining.
Ronnie Francis, number 10 for the Pittsburgh Penguins, finished second on the team in scoring this year, was named their MVP, carrying the bulk of the load at center ice with Mary Lemieux missing so much. Usually plays second fiddle to number 66 when he is in the lineup and healthy, but this year asked the penalties, but play the power play as well and chip in offensively. He did that, finishing with 96 points on the season, second only to Jarmo Jagr, who had 99, and that's the first time since 1983-84, Jeff, that the Penguins have not had a 100-point man on their roster. My mistake, actually. Francis finished with 93 points, not 96.
Great human interest story involving Ron Francis that was the feature of a lengthy story in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette today. We'll tell you about a little bit later on. Francis, according to his coach, who traded him from Hartford to Pittsburgh while he was still Hartford, Eddie Johnson, the general manager there, calls Francis the MVP and the player's player, as voted by his teammates most valuable, was Ron Francis. Jarmo Jagr. How much talent does this guy have, Sean?
Well, an awful lot. And a quick point about Eddie Johnson, that's one of the things he had to do when he took over the Pittsburgh Penguins. When he traded Ronnie Francis from the Hartford Whalers, had questioned not only Francis's on-ice ability, but even questioned how much character and leadership he had as a Hartford Whaler. Well, I'm sure he proved himself with 2 Stanley Cups. So first thing Johnson did when he took over was went and talked to Francis, smoothed things out. And, hey, let's face it, if Johnson wants to stay as the coach, that's one of the people he needs to be working in his favor.
Story in the paper today, and we'll get to the human interest part a little later, but the story said, well, Francis maybe not likes today Eddie Johnson, but he certainly is playing for him and respects him as a coach. And that's all you ask as a coach, is to have that player's respect. Scramble in front, cleared by Samuelson, and it's out of the zone. Johansson banks it back in. It'll be played by Barrasso. As we mentioned earlier, loves to play the puck, and he sends it back into the Washington end. Jagr all over Hatcher. The Caps team captain still able to make the play. The right wing pass for Jones with Pavanka. Across the line, Jones, the wrist shot, the save off the stick, and up into the glove of Barrasso, and sticks get high with the Capitals charging the net. Guarded by Barrasso.
And they're tying up with Taglianetti, driving into the net. Keith Jones quickly jumps in there.
16.2 seconds remaining in this period. The Penguins saw the Capitals take the lead early, but Washington has stormed, or rather the Capitals took the lead, and the Penguins have stormed back, but Washington right now putting some pressure on Barrasso here in the late minutes of this first period.
We really, so far in this period, have not seen a lot of the physical stuff as Dale Hunter heads to the dressing room. Peter Taglianetti will do the same thing. You got to look at it, a little pushing and shoving, trying to get position in front of Tommy Barrasso. But I can tell you, although it's not a real physical series in the sense the Capitals against the Pittsburgh Penguins, anytime you're playing the team every second day, every game gets more and more important in a series. I'm sure we'll see more of the pushing and shoving, more of the talking after the whistle.
These former Patrick Division rivals, of course, no longer involved in the same division, but still very much rivals here in the Eastern Conference of the National Hockey League.
Surprising after the whole playoff shake-up, going to a different format. Many of the matchups on both the east and west side ended up being people playing out of the old divisions of last year. You look at the Rangers and the Islanders meeting. The other side, Dallas playing against St. Louis.
How about Montreal and Boston again?
Calgary against the Vancouver Canucks.
Larry Murphy. Samuelson. Centering pass off the stick of Francis, played by Hatcher. Backpedals inside his own zone. Hatcher turning away from Francis, and this will pretty well do it for the first period of play as the horn goes to end the first 20 minutes of Stanley Cup action here in Pittsburgh. The Washington Capitals struck early. Dmitry Kristich beating Tom Barrasso, but then Lemieux's even strength goal at 12-10 tied it up at 1. A little over 2 minutes later, 14-14 to be exact, Joe Mullen with his first of the playoffs, and the Penguins skate off the ice, leading the Washington Capitals by a score of 2-1. We'll step aside, and when we return, a visit with Caps Vice President and General Manager David Ford.